We are reacting to nukes are way scarier than you think. Now look, bro, I am so scared of this, bro. We're gonna get straight into this video. Before I do, like, comment, subscribe, bro. This is a good nukes are something that we should be afraid of, bro. This is not no horror movie, bro. This is real life, bro. Nukes can really, like, bro, fuck us over, bro. Let's start this motherfucker.
I'm in Washington, D.C. right now, and I want to visualize for you what it would look like if a nuclear weapon landed on the nation's capital. So, for our scenario, there is a nuclear weapon headed towards the city right now.
Bro, look how scary this is, bro. They're like, this technology, bro. This is technology about to just end humanity, bro. You know, I just can't believe this shit sometimes, how powerful science is.
A large nuclear weapon flying, headed towards Washington, D.C. The actual bomb is actually in here. This cone that's about 2 meters tall, 6 feet. It's falling back into the atmosphere. Here it comes. And then...
boom.
For a moment, right here is the hottest thing in our solar system, hotter than the sun. 100 million degrees Celsius as it expands out. Everything around it turns into dust. I mean, smaller than dust. Atoms are ripped apart. This fireball instantly vaporizes everything within a half-a-mile radius. And here comes the blast wave, a wall of high-pressure air that is moving faster than the speed of sound. It creates wind behind it that is faster than anything ever observed in nature. Everything within 2.5 miles is leveled. And then...
Bro, I hope this weapon never gets used, bro, on people, bro. I know it will someday, because like, that's just how stuff works, bro. It's inevitable, bro. But I hope this shit never happens, dog. Because this is literally hell, bro. It's power that we shouldn't even have in our hands. Like, it's insane that we actually can do this. It's insane, bro.
There's the heat wave, which burns everything within 5 miles. Nearly everyone in this city is either dead or severely injured.
Severely. Heavy on the severely.
Everything that can be on fire is now on fire as this huge mushroom cloud rises into the air, dragging with it a storm of dust, dirt, and debris. But this isn't normal dust anymore. The bomb has done something to it, to its atoms, making them fall apart in slow motion, shooting out invisible, deadly energy. This poison dust drifts all across this region. It clings to soil and plants and people hundreds of miles away. These poisoned atoms will keep firing off radiation for years, for decades, centuries, even thousands of years. This is a disaster that humans made, and that was just for one of these cones. A rocket fired from an American submarine can carry 8 of these cones at once.
Oh my God.
If those hit one target, it would be a much worse situation. A lot of global politics centers around this, making sure this does not happen. But everything I just showed you is very possible. We have the capabilities to do this right now. And in fact, a lot of countries have their finger on the trigger, able to launch one of these at a moment's notice. And I've spent a very long time trying to understand why. Why have we done this? And why these nuclear weapons, which were famous during...
Bro, hold on, let me go back to that bomb. That motherfucker huge.
Why have we done this? And why these...
This is back in the day, bro. This nigga got no shirt on, bro. This nigga straight out the mines, bro. He is straight out the mines, dog. Look how big. It's like this yellow big ass bomb. This is like 1995. Bro, this is a big bomb. That motherfucker look heavy as hell, bro. Imagine you just drop that on somebody without it even blowing up. You could kill somebody just like that. Motherfucker is huge. Just kill people, bro. That's crazy.
These nuclear weapons, which were famous during the Cold War, are back. They're back in a new way. They're once again becoming the center of global politics.
We are entering one of the most dangerous periods in nuclear history. We're on the cusp of this third age. That nuclear is back.
That's Sam from Search Party. He also made a video about nuclear weapons, but it's different than mine. It went live yesterday. In this video, I'm going to show you how these things work, what countries have them, and how they're used on the global stage. And then Sam's video will take you into this specific moment in time and what to look out for going forward. Help you understand why nuclear weapons are back on the world stage. We're headed into a world that is more and more informed.
Welcome back to Disney Channel. You're watching ATW Miami. Drop a like on the video, bro. Come on, man.
By nuclear weapons and nuclear politics. So it's time we start paying attention. Let me show you. Everyone's telling me that they don't like that my screen shakes. Listen.
Now look, if you're watching this video so far, bro, the rest of this video is going to be really sciencey, bro. If you're not into, like some people, if you're a kid, bro, or something, this might not be for you. This is not entertaining, bro. This is educational, okay? So try your best to stick with it, bro. You might fall asleep, bro, but I'm into this type of nuclear shit. If you don't fuck with it, watch another video on the channel. I appreciate you, but there's some different shit.
I can't help it. This thing's big. It's unruly. Sorry. Okay, so what is this thing? Well, it's a bomb, obviously.
Yeah.
A very destructive bomb.
That's insane,
And it's one
dog.
that messes with the very building blocks of everything, the atom.
Atoms are the tiny building blocks which make up everything in the world.
So an atom, of course, is the smallest unit of matter, right? And it's made up of several subatomic particles, electrons, protons, neutrons.
I talked to Destin from the YouTube channel Smarter Every Day. He's a real scientist, engineer. He's making a bunch of videos on nuclear energy. And I talked to him because I wanted to make sure I was grounded in my understanding of the physics of a nuclear bomb. Everything is atoms. Everything that you can touch, the air, everything is atoms. Different kinds of atoms. And these atoms have a little secret hiding in them. Every single atom can be turned into energy. Like actually matter, like atoms and energy are the same thing. They're just in different states.
When I was growing up, Dad used to always say matter is frozen energy.
Like this could be turned into energy, and actually a lot of energy that could like fuel
That's
a
crazy.
car or like power my house or like fly me to the moon. And it doesn't take that much
This is energy.
mass to create a lot of energy. Let me show you this really quick. This little piece of metal is probably a little more than a gram. Not very heavy. Not a lot of mass, right? If we zoom way into this little clip, you're gonna see a bunch of atoms. Now, there are some powerful forces working on this atom, keeping the nucleus really tightly glued together, keeping the atoms separate from each other so they don't like blob into one another. And thank God for this, because otherwise nothing would be solid. You would sit in a chair and just sort of fall through. There's a lot of forces happening down with the atoms, keeping everything stable, everything solid.
Yeah.
We like these forces. They make it so that my little paperclip thingy doesn't explode and everything doesn't just sort of spontaneously come apart. Stable, good.
Those forces, those subatomic forces are very, very strong.
Now you can break these forces holding atoms together. If you rock their world hard enough, they will kind of rearrange. They will break, and then they'll quickly like reorganize to try to form some sort of stable atom. But in the process, a little bit of matter is left with nowhere to go. It can't bond to anything. And so it spontaneously turns into energy. Every single thing around you, everything could be turned into energy, an enormous amount of energy. How much energy? I'm glad you asked, because this is the moment that I've been waiting for since I was a child, where in my real adult career, I'm going to be able to invoke the famous equation of our very own Albert Einstein.
I knew he was gonna say Albert Einstein, bro.
I'm doing this.
I should have said it before you said it, bro. I knew he was gonna say that. Fuck.
For those of you who already know about E equals MC squared and exactly what it means, like skip 45 seconds ahead, because I'm about
I can't skip. I don't know nothing about E equals nothing.
to explain it in a way that I've always wanted someone to explain it to me, and I'm gonna do that for you.
Bro, I haven't seen a chalkboard in like centuries. Oh my god. I forgot this was a thing.
So,
E.
what does
Okay.
Einstein say about how much energy is contained in my little paperclippy thing? The E is energy.
Okay. E equals
The M is
MC.
mass.
Mass.
Mass are we turning into energy?
Energy equals
And the
mass.
C is the speed of light in meters per second. Speed.
Okay. Just off this YouTube video, bro, I'm learning way more than I ever did in science class, bro. Facts.
The mass of my paperclip is 1 gram. Because this is in kilograms, it's going to be 0.001. I just need to times this by speed of light squared is about 299 million meters per second, but we have to times it by itself, which comes out to be 89 quadrillion 875 trillion 570 billion 870.
Oh my god, I don't understand. I don't get it, bro. But fuck it, 89,000 energy. Fuck it.
3,681,764.
It's a huge number.
Oh. So my paperclip mass times this. Einstein says we have to multiply that big number by the mass of this paperclip to find out how much energy is inside of it. And if you do that math with my 1 gram, you get 89 trillion joules. That's enough energy to power 100,000 homes for 2 weeks, or 1 home for 2,000 years.
Wow, from a paper?
Just inside of this.
Okay, I like how you broke that down. So a paperclip, like something so small, like he said that paperclip, if you transfer like the atoms or whatever he did, C squared times whatever, y'all know what I'm talking about. That energy could power 100,000 homes with electricity off of that energy. That's just a paperclip. Imagine what you did with a phone or a wallet if you changed it into, you know, some type of, if you broke down the atoms and did whatever he said. So like a nuclear bomb, bro, that's a paperclip. 2 weeks from a paperclip, nigga, a nuclear bomb, bro. Nah, dog, that shit is crazy.
Because of that. Okay, giant caveat for everyone watching, and those who study physics will be clamoring for this. You can't actually do that with like an iron paperclip. The amount of energy you would need to like turn this into energy would sort of be more than the energy you get out of it. To actually do this, to release the energy from matter, you need different kinds of atoms, like big unstable ones like the ones we see in uranium.
Yeah.
My point here is not that this is ever going to like break and turn into energy, but that when you mess with atoms, the bonds within atoms, and you release a little bit of matter into energy, you don't need very much to create a huge amount. That's what we're about to see in real life.
So fission is a big atom splitting. Fusion, little atoms coming together.
I had a fun time watching Destin show me how fission works in his studio with his very cute looking neutrons and mousetraps. He made a whole video about it that you can check out. Now, for most of time, the only place that this sort of turning matter into energy was happening was not here on Earth, but in the center of stars.
And this is the kind of stuff that happens in the core of the sun, for example.
Where immense heat and pressure is smashing atoms together so hard that they fuse. They rearrange a little bit of matter that isn't fused turns into energy, and you get the literal sun. That's called fusion.
Wow, bro.
But then, in the 1900s, the humans on Earth decided they wanted to start to do something like this themselves. As I talked about, nuclear politics is ramping up in a new way. Iran is the best example of where this is clearly happening, where there's just like a lot of secrecy and vague information as a negotiating tactic. And it's a really normal thing to feel like you're just left with a bunch of headlines and leaks and half answers, but no real clear picture, which is exactly why I am a giant fan and big user of Ground News, who is the sponsor of today's video. Ground News is this uranium for 10 narrative. And it's not just me.
All right. Here we go. Here we go to the next set. Chapter 2.
It was the 1930s in Germany, and some scientists...
All right, I'm going to skip through this video because this is a lot of science. If y'all want to go watch this, nukes are way scarier than you think. You know, y'all can search that up. But let me, I just want to skip to the good parts. Autonomy of a nuke. Who has them? We're going to watch, I want to see the autonomy of a nuke. Yeah. Fuck, we want them, nigga. Show me how this nuke work, nigga. No cap.
Let me show you what today's nukes look like and how they work. This is a modern nuclear weapon, sometimes called a thermonuclear weapon, hydrogen bomb. This cone is about the same height as an American male. And the actual bomb is in here.
Bro, that's crazy, bro. This thing's like, I'm like 1 inch taller than this. So like, that's crazy. That's how big these are, bro. Like, imagine just sending a human bomb. That's literally what it is.
We don't know exactly how big it is, but we know it's shaped like a peanut.
Okay.
This cone needs to be mounted on something to deliver it to the target. In this example, it's on a huge rocket that flies to space, can carry this nuke like over 1,000 kilometers away. Eventually, the rocket part falls away, and the cone starts falling towards its target. And then, when it hits its pre-programmed altitude, it detonates. But watch what happens. This is crazy. It's actually 3 bombs. It starts with just a regular old explosive bomb, no nuclear stuff yet. But this bomb inside of this very small peanut-shaped space triggers a fission bomb, the first type that we invented, the one that overcomes the forces keeping an atom stable and breaks them apart and turns a tiny bit of matter into a huge amount of energy. So there is a fission reaction happening, and that shoots out a huge amount of energy at the speed of light that bounces off all these shiny beryllium walls. And then it hits this, and this is the final one. It's so hot in here, 100 million degrees Celsius, that we're basically in the core of a star. It's actually hotter than the core of our sun. Hot enough to do things that stars do. So now in this third bomb, the big one, hydrogen atoms are being smashed together into a new form. A little bit of matter is escaping into E equals mc squared, being multiplied by the speed of light squared, and what you get is total destruction.
Bro, what the fuck, dog? I really don't understand. Like, I don't understand. Like, there's fusion bombs and Poseidon bombs and technocolor nuclear bombs, and they all mixing the chemicals and all that. Atoms mixing in and creating new atoms, and it just blows up and blows up the whole world, bro. And all the families and people, like, bro, that shit is so scary to me, bro. It's like, bro, I'm so scared of nukes, dog. It's like, it's my worst nightmare, bro. Like, anytime I hear a plane fly over the house, bro, I be thinking like it's over. And like, it's like, I don't like the scariest deaths to me, bro, is like just stuff that's out of your control. Like a plane crash, you falling out the plane and shit. You can't, it's like, there's nothing you could do about it, bro. It's like a nuke, just shit like that, bro. But, humans, bro, like whoever, like, bro, we don't need to be this smart, bro, to make shit like this, bro. Only God should have power over nukes and shit. Humans don't need, bro. Yeah, y'all get my point, bro.
Yeah, I mean, we made that. That is possible. Those big ones have never been used in war, and hopefully they never will. Okay, but how big are these? Let's put them on a city. My city, Washington, D.C. Terrible thought, but we gotta do this exercise.
So like, I wouldn't live in Washington, bro. Like, y'all, if we ever do go to nuclear war, bro, they're gonna go after Washington. And like any farmlands, like I'm in Wisconsin and that's farmland, you know, they grow crops and whatnot. So they want to attack, you know, like if they attack the farmland, they could just starve America. So like, I need to move. Texas, you're good, but Texas, you got floods and shit. But Texas, you're off the radar for like nukes and whatnot. But it affects everybody though still.
If you were to drop a fission bomb, like the ones we dropped on Japan, that killed hundreds of thousands, it would look like this. Upgrade that to a fusion bomb, like the ones deployed today, and it would look like this.
Damn.
Estimated 350,000 people dead in minutes. During the Cold War, we made these things huge. If you detonate the biggest fusion bomb ever tested, it would look like this.
Damn.
The city would be gone, and people 40 miles away in like Baltimore would have life-threatening burns from the heat wave. 300 square miles of buildings destroyed. I mean, this is a horrible possibility that we have invented, and we have a lot of them.
Oh my god. The TSR bomb. Who has them?
Let's look at a map. I like looking at maps.
Not
we can't
Iran.
go too long without looking at a map. Today, there are around 12,000 nuclear warheads somewhere on Earth. That's 12,000. 12,000. That's enough firepower to level every sizable city on the planet several times over.
Wow.
The world used to have way more, like more than triple that during the Cold War. Almost every one of these nuclear warheads today is in the hands of 2 countries, the US and Russia.
Yeah.
But in total, there are 9 countries that possess these destructive bombs. And one of these countries doesn't admit that they have nuclear weapons, but they do. And America's nukes aren't just in America. They're scattered all over the world. In ally countries, on land, in air, deep in the ocean, lurking in submarines, in a configuration that the US calls its nuclear posture. It's one of the most important parts of America's military strategy today, and we're about to see how it actually works in real life. Because these 12...
All right, look, I'm gonna tell y'all right now, the safest place you can be during a nuclear fallout, bro. Look at all these islands, bro. All these islands gonna get fucked up. Okay, I might be wrong about this, but look, if it was me, bro, and I got some money, bro, I'm going to like a little small island right here. Y'all see these small islands? Like, I'll go to this island right here, or I'll go to an island over here. Let me know in the comments how y'all feel about that. I would go right here, like, just be chilling on some little ass unknown island, bro. But like, the only problem with that is, like, once a nuke does hit, maybe a nuke could cause like a Mother Nature to have like a tsunami or something. But I'm taking a tsunami on an island before I take a bomb over my head. I'm doing that any day, I promise you. People survive tsunamis, dog. People do not survive a nuke. That's fact.
12,000 nukes.
China got 650 in North Korea. North Korea does not need none. No cap. Israel 90. See, Russia gotta chill, bro.
Shape our entire world. Their threat is ever present. And so it turns the chessboard of geopolitics into a different thing than it was before.
Nuclear weapons, of course, did revolutionize warfare, right? So Bernard Brodie in 1946 calls them the absolute weapon. He says that basically before the bomb was invented, the fundamental purpose of military establishments was to plan for, fight, and win wars, and now it would be to prevent them altogether.
So, what stops countries from nuking each other? Well, uh-oh, my camera's shaking again. See in the comments, folks. I don't have a way to stabilize this in a way that like really
Come
keeps it
on,
from,
bro.
like, bouncing around.
Come
If you
on,
have
bro.
suggestions on a better camera arm.
Oh my god.
I'll take it. So the central idea of all of this is pretty simple, pretty intuitive, kind of, but then it kind of messes with your brain in weird ways, and we'll see how that works. You've got these two big empires. They're rivals. They're competing with each other, as big countries do and have always done, and maybe someday they won't, but they do for now. If there's no nukes in this equation, history has taught us that these two big empires will fight each other. Over land, over influence, over resources, over honor, over who knows. They will fight each other. That always has happened. Like, that is the central thread of humanity, is big, powerful entities will fight each other. And in recent centuries, it's gotten really destructive. Like, think of Europe and Asia in the 1940s. Countries are fighting because there's a chance that one of them can win. Okay, now after 1945, put nukes on the board and watch what happens.
This new weapon that could inflict damage of the kind that we just never before imagined in human history.
Now, if these two empires get into a war with each other, they both know that it will escalate. They will keep using more and more extreme force until eventually one side will use nukes, to which the other will respond with their own nukes. And then it's game over for everyone. Nobody wins, everybody loses, the world is on fire. The concept of victory becomes irrelevant because everyone's dead. This creates a calculus of fear, an understanding that you will inflict way more consequences on yourself if you go to war with your geopolitical rival. And this threat of total destruction is stronger than the urge to fight and dominate. After World War II, after we witnessed this destructive bomb in Hiroshima and Nagasaki, something changed. We crossed a line of understanding that there really was something that could really sort of end it all.
It's about convincing the other side that attacking is just not worth it. Convincing both sides that the price is just too high. And unfortunately, that means deterrence.
Deterrence. That is the word. That is the key concept. Comes from this root of like avoidance of something because of terror, fear. Terror prevents you from acting. And it weirdly, strangely, paradoxically kind of works. Though this is debated by scholars, and when I was in grad school for peace and conflict resolution, there was a lot of compelling evidence that deterrence doesn't work, but I'm not getting into the literature right now. It is widely accepted that one of the major reasons great powers have not gone to war with each other directly in the last 70, 80 years is because of nuclear weapons. For those who want to dispute that claim, I am so stoked for your good faith argument and dissent in the comments. I will read it and
I
respond.
agree with that. I agree with that. Because nukes, like, it does prolong people. That's really why there's like really not too much conflict, even though there's a lot of conflict happening, in recent time. You feel me? But let me stop knowing what I'm act like I know what I'm talking about. Y'all get the point. Y'all get the point.
I love this stuff. Anyway, global politics today leans heavily on this grim logic, this balance of deterrence created by very destructive bombs that split atoms. But in order for deterrence to work, it can't just be the bombs. It has to have some other important ingredients. First up, the threat needs to be believable. It needs to be credible. Your enemy has to believe that you will actually, credibly, fire back a nuke. That you're not just making empty threats and bluffing all of the time, that you actually have the ability and appetite to fire one of these things off. What that means is you gotta have these things ready to go at all times. You gotta have maps of targets to hit. Thousands of targets in some cases, like here in these giant maps in a bunker command center that the US had, showing all the targets in the Soviet Union that they were ready to hit. The Soviets, of course, had a similar map of all the targets they were ready to hit. During the Cold War, the US had a bomber plane with a nuke on it in the air 24/7 for 8 years. Like, it wasn't the same plane. They were obviously doing patrols, but there was always one in the air ready to drop a nuke. And this is why it remained a Cold War. But the Soviet Union fell and the big standoff kind of chilled out a little bit. But today, credibility is just as important to all of the nuclear powers, especially the big dogs, US, China, Russia. They all still have their nukes pointed at each other all the time. And all three make it really easy to make the decision to launch one. They centralize the decision making into one person, the top leader. Like in the United States, we do this. The president is the sole authority who can authorize a nuclear strike. And legally, no one can veto his decision. He could launch a nuke within 5 minutes using some special authorization codes and relying on this football. I know it's not a football, it's a briefcase, but it's called the nuclear football. And inside of this, there's a phone and a scary black book that lists out all of the potential targets that the president could authorize a strike on. How many people would die, what the effect would be. It's all right there by his side all the time. And for those wondering, yes, it's that kind of football. Sorry, world. This is America. Okay, the next ingredient to deterrence is the ability to hit back. Meaning, if one nuclear country is able to destroy all of your nukes in a surprise attack, then the whole thing falls apart. They now are not deterred because they can disarm you. So you gotta have more than one nuke, and you kinda gotta spread them out and hide them. The US does this by spreading its nukes out all throughout the world and dividing them up by delivery methods. Some are sitting in these big underground silos that are spread all across the middle of the country. There's just rockets in here, ready to launch at a moment's notice.
Bro, imagine just being like camping. Imagine you're on a road trip. You know how many road trips we probably all done drove? Now that I think about it, bro, we done drove past a lot of nuclear bombs, bro. Because if there's 5,000 in America, bro, you got to think like, so we're driving around them all the time. We're just not seeing them because they underground and shit. That's so scary, bro. Right under our nose, bro, because it's inhumanity. Think about
Others
that.
are sitting on airplanes positioned all around the globe. And as of 2 weeks ago, the US positioned 10 of its bombers, probably carrying nukes, here on this tiny little island in the Indian Ocean called Diego Garcia, which I've made a video about and want to make another video about because it's wild. And yeah, there's just nukes on this island. North Korea, China, Russia, Iran. Beware, there's nukes here, says the United States. And then, of course, we've got nukes lurking in the depths of the ocean, sitting on submarines, these underwater buildings that are weapons and bases and command centers all in one. They can carry up to 20 missiles, each of them with multiple warheads. Like, the amount of destruction capability designed into these weapons is kind of unfathomable, and that's kind of the point. It has to be so bad, so easy to launch, that your enemy's like not messing with that. Anyway, these different delivery systems are called the nuclear triad. Russia has something like it too. China's kind of developing their own triad. And all of this is so that we have that second ingredient of deterrence, the ability to strike back. These things are safe from a surprise attack that would take out all of our nukes. Okay, so you've got credibility in that you're ready to go. You've got a second strike capability. But where the rubber meets the road is the last ingredient. And this is where the mind games begin.
Red lines?
You have to signal to your enemy what they would have to do to warrant an attack.
The signal to each other on what to do and what to not do, so you can create guardrails for your competition.
The cleanest and safest way to do this is to just say, hey, we will not attack anyone with our nukes unless they attack us with their nukes first. This is called a no first use policy, or nuclear doctrine. It's pretty straightforward, and it's much more about just protecting your national survival. And this is what China has articulated as their policy. Most countries operate with this as their kind of de facto policy. Don't attack us with nukes or we'll nuke you back. It's a way of deterring anyone from trying to attack them.
Most other countries that has nuclear weapons fundamentally relies on them to assure the existence of their country. You have nuclear weapons and they're survivable, your country's probably not going to be wiped off the map or be invaded.
But for the two big dogs on the stage, Russia and the United States, red lines are a way for them to kind of play mind games with each other because they believe that it would incentivize their enemy to do everything short of a nuclear attack. Chemical weapons, conventional attacks, all these other things that we also want to deter. So both of them keep their red lines intentionally vague and fuzzy, forcing each other to constantly be questioning, where's the red line? Like, am I going too far? Am I going to trigger a nuclear strike if I do this or that? This keeps both sides very far away from provoking each other because they're not sure where the red lines are. And this is the mind game at the heart of modern nuclear politics. It's a very dangerous mind game, but it's nonetheless the one we have.
If deterrence ever fails, then you just have this really terrible thing that could affect humanity's long-term survival.
Who is that bald guy, bro? No kill.
Okay, now time for some payoff. I'm going to apply this to the real world. We've been doing this kind of like conceptual, theoretical deterrence talk. I'm now going to show you how all of these ingredients and this deterrence plays out in the real world.
Nuclear chess.
First, Ukraine.
People will say, didn't Western deterrence fail because Russia attacked it all? And I would say, absolutely not. In fact, it is a case study of how nuclear deterrence actually works.
I'm going to make a list of all the moves and counter moves that these two nuclear powers play on each other.
The day the conflict started, Putin announced that he was putting his nuclear forces on high alert. It didn't quite have the intended effect. So like a few days later, he remade the same announcement. This time he had a photograph taken. That's a nuclear signal. But he meant that specifically for people like me who read that kind of stuff to say, oh, they're serious. I better tell Biden that this is serious.
Russia has shamelessly violated the core tenets of the United Nations Charter.
Putin was very clearly manipulating nuclear risk. He wanted all of Europe to know that Russia had nuclear weapons, and they should remember that.
The West immediately responded with sanctions, punishing Russia's economy. But beyond that, there was a big debate. There was some fear, some deterrence. Should we send military troops? Should we send weapons? Maybe just send money? We don't want to cross Putin's line.
The Russians drew a number of what they wanted us to believe were very clear red lines. If you supply them with mobile artillery, it'll be World War III.
Whoever would try to stop us and further create threats to our country, to our people, should know that Russia's response will be immediate and lead you to such consequences that you have never faced in your history.
Hey, bro, that's a crazy threat, bro. I would not play with that. I
See what he's
promise you.
doing here? Like, do you see how vague that language is? It's grand, it's scary, it's not specific. This is a blurry red line that forces the West to fill in the blanks for themselves, to think twice before sending troops or sending support, because what if he's serious? All right, your move, NATO.
Hundreds of thousands of NATO troops on heightened alert.
We're also taking steps to defend our NATO allies, particularly in the East.
Putin's saber rattling did instill some fear in the West. So instead of sending troops to Ukraine, NATO deployed 40,000 of their troops to the border, just outside of Ukraine. And then the West responded by doing some signaling of their own, saying that the use of nuclear weapons would result in, quote, catastrophic consequences for Russia.
The wind of the conflict sort of blew some sand over the red lines, and they turned into pink fuzzy lines that the West eventually started to test and tolerate.
And then the NATO countries do start sending weapons, but they don't send them all at once. They're worried that might cross his line. So they have to calibrate their response, and they start sending weapons a little at a time. I mean, it wasn't a little, it was a lot of weapons, but they could have sent way more, and it could have actually made a big difference in Ukraine, but they didn't want to cross his red line, and they don't totally know where it is.
It's like adjusting a thermostat. Like, you don't want the temperature to get too hot, you don't want it to get too too cold. Nuclear deterrence deeply frustrated not just the Russians, and deeply frustrated the West, and frustrated the Ukrainians. And so it's this thing we rely on for security, but it also endlessly, I think, makes the world we inhabit a lot more complicated to maneuver.
Throughout this war, Putin continues issuing nuclear threats.
Taiwan, North Korea. Can we just stop nukes? I'm sure what he's talking about.
That, but instead of just constantly one-upping each other, they started to reduce.
All right, we're going to end the video right there. I feel like that's a good point to leave. If you do want to watch the full video, you feel me, no skips and jumps. This is a 50-minute video, so y'all can see why I did that, bro. Is nukes are way scarier than you think. But if you did make it to the end, I appreciate you. Let me know what you think about nukes, bro. Let me know what you think about this whole situation, bro, in the comments, bro. We out this bit. Like, comment, subscribe, ATW Miami. I appreciate you. No cap.